ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. It's time for Montana's only daily sports talk show, Nuanez Now. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
I like football!
Now here's your host, Coulter Nuanez.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome in. Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Jam-packed show coming your way here live from the Grizzly Disposal Studio at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. So we got to get to it. One of our good friends, Sean Rainey, the sports director at SWX Montana Television, joins us to talk everything from Nashville to Montana State's national championship to the Grizz and some of the holes they need to fill, but also some NFL and whatever else we can get to with our man, who is one of the best sports guys that I've had the pleasure of working with. We're also going to hear from Daniel Sally. He's the voice of the Montana State women's basketball team. He's helped fill in some space. There's just a couple of moving parts. Had a hard time connecting with Tricia Binford this week. So we'll hear from her on Monday in the post game from Saturday's contest. But Daniel filling in, and he does a great job. And he's got great insight into the team as well. Also, a couple more returnees, a couple of the best players in the Big Sky announced they're coming back for their 2026 season at their respective schools, including Adam Jones, a Missoula Sentinel product, who is going to be a junior at Montana State. That's all just in hour number one. Hour number two, Brooks Nuanez will join us to talk all things NFL, and we'll hear from Travis DeCuire, the head coach of the Grizz men's basketball team. So 5 segments, 5 guests here on this. No, I guess 5 segments, 4 guests, I should say, here on this Nuanez Now. And oh, by the way, we have free beer for you. It's Thirsty Thursday, probably presented by DraftWorks. We have a gift card for you from DraftWorks coming your way. Here's what I want to do. I want to get as many questions as we can so we can have some stuff on the docket to talk about tomorrow and into the next week as well. So text us. What's a sports subject that you want us to talk about? Anything goes. You got a sports question, a sports topic, whatever. NFL, NBA, high school sports around the state of Montana, Grizz, Cats, basketball, football, any of it goes. Any and all texts to 406-888-1029 will get you entered in to win a $25 gift card to DraftWorks here in the Garden City, 406-888-1029. What questions do you have about the greater world of sports around the Treasure State? Keep those texts coming in, 406-888-1029. Our SWX Spotlight this week probably presented by Cash One Pawn. Cash One Pawn is the premier pawn shop in Western Montana. They are locally owned and happy to say so. What does locally owned mean? Well, it means you're going to have a whole bunch of guys that are invested in this community that can help you with any of your pawn needs, whether you need a cash loan or you're just in the market for some of the inventory they have there at the pawn shop, firearms, power tools, jewelry. Great staff, a whole bunch of guys that are from Montana, and the local flavor certainly elevates the experience there at Cash One Pawn. Cash One Pawn located off a Roller Coaster Road just past the airport, just short of the Y. The premier pawn shop in Western Montana. You can also shop online, cash1pawn.com. That's cash, the number 1, pawn.com. Let's have some fun. Well, this man survived. They only made him be on camera for like 12 hours a day when we were in Nashville. I hardly even got to see you, man, because you were just going live every 5 seconds. But here we are, Sean Rainey, SWX Montana Television, joining us. It's our SWX Spotlight for the week, where we check in all around the state with some of the great reporters that SWX has at their disposal. Thanks for doing it, man. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I know every single person I run into, ever like, oh, Nashville must have been so much fun. I'm like, yes, but they just absolutely kind of grind us when we're there. And I think the last Monday and Tuesday, it was a combination of like 48 out of the 48 hours. I think I was up for 45 of them between work and travel and stuff. So it was a blur, but it was really cool. We got to, I think it was Saturday night we ran into you. Yep. I was able to say hi to everybody for a little bit. So it was really good. It was obviously a historic event. Really cool to be down there in Nashville. But man, yes, it was a lot. Kind of got sick when we got back, so it's just kind of now getting into the swing of kind of winter sports now.
Yeah, if you ever wanted to know if sleep deprivation makes you sick, it does. Everybody in my crew, everybody I know that was down there working, we all grinded it so hard. We all came back and had colds and all sorts of stuff. So back healthy now. Well, let's start there. I think that this is something that's been, it's obviously a historic victory for Montana State. It's a huge windfall moment for the state of Montana. And I've been trying to put this in perspective from a statewide level and from a rivalry perspective, because obviously it's no question amazing for Montana State University and for Bobcat football. There's no argument there. But I also think that it actually is good for the state and the rivalry too. I think if you're the Grizz, this is something that you can point to and say, okay, here's the barometer. Here's where we're at. Here's where they're at. And let's go get it. And the Grizz had a great year this year, other than the 2 losses to the Bobcats. And I think a lot of people are salty about that, as you should be in a rivalry. But at the end of the day, I don't think the Grizz are that far away. When you look at what Montana State was doing in the 90s when the Grizz were winning national championships, they were a long ways away from where the Grizz are at. Whereas now, that gap is not nearly as much. So how do you put it in perspective just for what this means for the rivalry and the state of Montana in general?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to put into perspective because I think, let's look at it from an optimism point of view, right? If you're a Montana fan and you want to be optimistic, I think there is a world in which that tip pass, Dowler interception doesn't happen in Missoula.
Right.
The Grizz win that game, then host the semifinals, and maybe they're in that position and, winning down in Nashville. The pessimistic side is, well, good and great teams kind of create their own luck. You still lost your rival twice, ended up getting, waxed, even though the game was a lot closer than the final score in the semifinals. And kind of the way that Montana State is doing it seems to be more sustainable in this transfer portal era. I think that's kind of the biggest thing that if you're looking at it between Montana State and Montana is Montana State in a position where they're able to kind of reload year after year and do that more sustainably, while Montana is having to build through the portal more than Montana State is. That's going to be kind of the thing going forward. But as far as play on the field, yeah, Montana was not very far off. That said, I don't think that the Dakota States are going to be as down as they were last year. So that's another factor, right? And so, but you and I have talked many times, if Montana or Montana State are not in the semifinals
right
every single year, it's a failure now in the current FCS landscape. So I think they're always going to be there. It's just going to be which one of them is going to come through. And hopefully it lights a fire under the Montana Grizzlies and they change a few things and make a couple tweaks here and there. And they know where the bar is at that they got to reach and they got to make some changes and get to it.
Well, it's proof of concept too, right? The Cats proved that a Big Sky team can go win it because it's basically been nothing but the Missouri Valley. It's been nothing but North Dakota State, South Dakota State for 15 years. And now we actually have another champion. And I think it proves that you can get over the top, right? And I know the haters will say, well, the Cats didn't have to play NDSU. Well, that's fine. They had to play the team that beat NDSU. And that Illinois State was pretty dang good, too. So I just think it proves that the Big Sky teams can do it. And I think that's where you probably look to if you're the Grizz as well.
For sure. I think the questions would have been more if Illinois State was able to win that game. Then the question's really man, we've sent some really good Big Sky teams lately, and they haven't been able to get it done, especially against an Illinois State team that wasn't expected to be there. But man, what a magical game! And again, it's going to be one of the Montana teams every single year, I think, competing for it on one side, and then it's going to be. I know that this year wasn't one of the Dakota schools, but I think just every year moving forward, it's really going to be. I'd be shocked if it's not one of those 4 teams every single year being in it. And you're going to get an Illinois State here, maybe a UC Davis there or something like that. But for the majority, I really think it's like those 4 teams just kind of start with a giant leg up every single year, in my opinion.
Well, no doubt. I mean, I did this statistical breakdown yesterday on the show, and I mean, North Dakota State's made, I think, 15 out of the last 16 semifinals, and they played in 11 of the last 14 title games. South Dakota State's made 7 out of the last 8 semis. Cats have made 5 out of the last 6 semis. Grizz have made 2 out of the last 3. So it's a sort of they're all coming together, and with the way that the draw works, it's going to be hard for it to be all 4 of those teams year in and year out. But I agree with you. 2 of the 4 or 3 of the 4 are just going to be those teams moving forward.
And I got to admit, because you and I have talked about this a lot, sometimes when we're at a Montana versus Central Washington game or something, sure, and we're just like, man, like, is this where the Montana schools should be? Or should they move up and compete in some of this other stuff? But after going through that playoff run and seeing what that meant to everyone and seeing how cool that was, and I don't know. I was thinking that with the FCS getting watered down, I would have the opinion of the Montana schools definitely have to move up, and being at this level is kind of, it's just like, whatever. They're at this level. It's just,
right.
They need to move up, and it's not as cool. But I really think that this run by Montana State kind of validated, to me at least, that staying at this level for now is where it's at. Playing for a national championship, going through a tournament bracket like that, while all these other schools similar to them as far as passionate fan base at the next level are playing in like these meaningless bowl games that don't matter. I don't want that. I don't want the Montana schools to move up right now in this current state. And I think that playoff run and that experience down there in Nashville kind of solidified that for me.
It's a great point. Sean Rainey, SWX Montana Television, joining us here on Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio. I had this epiphany in the middle of the year, because I agree with you that the FCS is watered down just in terms of the depth and the amount of teams that actually are truly competing for national championships. I mean, there's teams in the top 10 that have no chance to win the national championship. That's objectively true. But I also think that the bar to win a national championship is as high as it's ever been in the FCS, right? But it's just only a few teams are meeting that bar. That's what makes it complicated. Like, a lot of those teams from the past in the FCS, I don't think they are going to beat a North Dakota State at their prime. Like, the best NDSU teams, I think, are winning most of the national championships at this level ever. There's 96 Marshall with Randy Moss, or 2000 Georgia Southern with Adrian Peterson, and some of those schools that were those teams are some of the greatest ever. App State had a team or two. Youngstown State had some great teams, but mostly the best FCS champions ever are some of these Bison teams of the last 10 or 15 years. And so the bar is actually higher. It's just less people that are meeting that bar.
Yeah, and I think that as fans, we're just going to have to be cognizant of the fact that there's going to be just a lot of weeks during the regular season that are just going to be not as enticing, I guess. And I think that's maybe more from us as like a sports journalist factor, that we kind of view them as boring because we're like, man, these teams just are not good that they're playing during the regular season. But it makes it worth it, later on in the year. And I think and I don't think the fans necessarily view that same perspective as we do, because they're kind of just going and they enjoy watching their team. They're not necessarily, I think the majority of them, doing a deep dive on exactly how good Drake is, and while you and I are just like, man, these guys aren't good. Like, it's hard to for me to get up for this game and be excited for them in non-conference game against Drake or whatever, when I think the fans just enjoy that experience and they just want to win in the regular season and compete for a national championship. So I think it's just that balance of just, hey, there's going to be some weeks for us that in the regular season are going to be like, well, here's just another bye week, even though they're playing a team. But we're going to enjoy the tournament run and all that kind of stuff.
Well, that's been the most interesting part, is there was this perception when the portal became a phenomenon and then NIL and all that the Big Sky and the Missouri Valley would just become farm leagues for the bigger schools. That has been true, but it's been way more true for the bad teams in the leagues, not the good teams in the league. Like, if you're Portland State just fired their coach and then everybody left. They only had 4 guys I thought were good players, but they all transferred. Weber, same thing, all their best players into the portal. But actually the success has helped the best teams actually avoid that Sometimes, not always, but sometimes. So what did you think of that? This last week, we saw a whole bunch of the headlining players from the state of Montana, whether it's Eli Gilman or Kaylee Ayat or Brooks Davis for the Grizz, Justin Lamson, Taco Dowler, Caden Dowler, Titan Fleischman for the Cat, Adam Jones as of today. They all announced they're coming back. That's a cool thing for us as storytellers because we want to cover the best guys, and covering guys for multiple years just makes it better for us, too. We just get to know them better. What do you think of just the boost that gives the state, just having some of the best guys come back?
It's hard to answer because, I mean, pretty much the entire Montana defense also left.
Totally right. Yeah, because you could give your perspective on that because they did. They had 5 of the best guys jump in the portal.
Yeah, everyone's gone except for Peyton Wing. Montana's secondary all goes Power 5 or Power 4, however you want to call it. To me, I'm just approaching it like this. People are going to come and go, and fans are going to get disappointed because they're going to like a young player and they feel like they kind of invested in that player. And maybe they picked that player early, right? Like they were a redshirt freshman that only played in like 3-4 games. And they're like, oh man, I really like that. What the flash of that Caleb Aluski guy, like he's going to be my guy that, I'm going to plant my flag on as being good in the future. And so when they leave, you get disappointed as a fan, right? But I think you just have to accept the fact that players that you are a fan of are going to leave, and then they're going to be replaced by players that you're going to fall in love with and like, and that we just have to really show love and support the kids that stay. And that's just kind of how I think if fans approach it that way, and when that comes in 10 years, like when we're talking legacy, like who was better between Eli Gilman and so-and-so, well, then maybe Eli Gilman gets the tiebreaker because he had opportunities to leave and chose to stay. And I think if we just kind of, applaud those kids that stay when we know that they could have gone in other directions, I think that's kind of the way that at least I think that fans should approach it moving forward. Because like I said, it's going to be a lot of movement moving forward.
I agree. I also said this, you and I are both big NFL nuts, and there's I think there's some parallels there just in terms of like the supply and demand or like the positional value. Mm-hmm. If you're watching your team and you see a really good young offensive lineman or a really good young corner, you just almost have to expect those guys are going to be gone because the supply and demand is just so much different, right? Like you could Keon Loud didn't even have to play in hardly any games this year for you to know that like that guy is an FBS corner. Like it was 0% surprising to me that he went in the portal, right? Like he's just a 6'2" corner that can run, and that's what they look like. Like he's just going Power 4. You knew he was. Whereas I think the guys like the Gilmans and the Dowlers and stuff, I think they have a better chance of staying because, first of all, there's just way more guys at those positions at the elite level. But also I think those guys understand, like, if you want to go to the NFL, if you're a lineman, so much of it's about your film. Like, who are you going against? Are you going against NFL guys every week, or are you going against Northern Colorado? It doesn't help you to go against Northern Colorado. Whereas skill guys, who are you going against, but also your statistics can be your resume too, right? Like, I think Gilman realizes, hey, I could go to Texas or whatever, insert school name here, Florida, but what if I don't start? Or, am I going to rush for 1,600 yards in the SEC? Almost certainly not. Whereas I stay at Montana and I can rush for 1,600 yards and score 23 touchdowns like you did this year. Now all of a sudden you have this vaunted resume. Maybe that helps you get down the road a little farther in your pro dreams too.
Yeah, I just think to me too, like a couple things that players don't really take into account. And obviously everyone's different, right? If you have a chance to get a couple $100,000 and your family doesn't have a lot of money, and that can really change the direction of your life for the next couple decades, like you got to take it. But I think a lot of people forget, when you're done and you've been at 4 schools in 4 years, like when your school has homecoming, like what school are you going back to homecoming? Like what community is going to help you get a job when you're done?
Totally.
They're not going to, because you've been at 4 different places. There's just a lot of, I think, benefits of staying in a place that are not being considered now, because everything is so much about what can you do for me right now, right this second? What money can I get in my pocket immediately? Where staying, some of those benefits aren't really weighed. But I think that like an Eli Gilman, a Taco Dowler, like they're seeing it. Like they know, like let's say Washington State throws $500,000 at Taco Dowler, right? He goes to Pullman but no businesses. People don't know who he is. He's just next guy that they got in the portal. He stays in Bozeman. He's going to get all these NIL opportunities because every business in town wants to work with him. It's the same thing with Eli Gillen and Missoula. Like, everyone knows who you are. You're a big deal. It's just different, and I think that's better than going to a bigger school, getting like that immediate money transaction. But then what after that? Nobody knows who you are.
Totally.
You're not gonna have those established relationships in the community, and it's just a little different. So I just think that I hope that these guys are able to see all of that and weigh all of that, and some of these NIL agents don't just completely ruin some of these decisions by these kids.
No doubt. Sean Rady, SWX Montana Television, joining us here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Okay, enough on the football front. How about hoops? They got the rivalry coming up in Bozeman. The women's game, 2 p.m., those two teams are going in different directions. Montana State looks like they're in the driver's seat for another conference championship. Lady Grizz are in a tough spot, man. They have a lot of problems. They can't guard, they can't rebound, but they also are young and they also are inexperienced, and also their best player is on the shelf with an injury. So I don't really know where you turn if you're Nate Harris. It's a pretty tough rivalry atmosphere you're going to encounter in Bozeman, but the men's game could be pretty good. What do you think of the rivalry doubleheader on Saturday?
Yeah, for the women, I mean, they're just, if you're Nate, you're just trying to ride it out until Matt Koenig gets healthy, and then you're just hoping to get hot late, right?
Right, just win 3 games in March. That's what you're trying to do.
Yeah, but I mean, they're going to struggle to just get the ball past half court with Mac not there. That's going to be a buzzsaw that they're going to walk into. It's crazy. They haven't won since 2013 in Bozeman.
How wild is that?
I was also doing a little thing on the news this week. Under Robin Selvig, they won 75% of their games. They've won 47% of their games in the 9 years since. They, are 0 for 9 in regular season or Big Sky championships in the tournament. It's just been, it's crazy the way where the program has fallen. We'll see if they can kind of respond. But the guys' game is going to be, I think, pretty awesome. And I think a pretty kind of early game to kind of stamp how good you are. Because, these two teams are, fighting for second place in the standings, both at 3-1, but both have looked good against non-conference. They look bad against non-conference, and they've been kind of, good to competitive, in the last, 2 weeks. So I think that the men's game is going to be very intriguing to see, how that one goes, because I think Montana State is a little bit better than we thought they were going to be. And I think, Montana is a little worse than we thought they were going to be. So I think that this is going to be, one of those games where you kind of can get a leg up on the other team as we go throughout the Big Sky slate.
Fascinating point guard matchup in the men's game, too, because you have Money Williams, who's, Mr. Downhill scorer, gets to the free throw line whenever he wants. Yeah, a power guard, a power point guard. And then you got Jed Miller, who's like the poor man Steve Nash, but he's playing great right now, man. He's shooting 50% from the floor. He's averaging 14 points per game. He's had 20 in 3 of the 4 conference games. Like, I never thought that dude. I mean, I love him. He's a great kid, but like, I never thought that dude was going to be scoring 25 points in a league game. Like, that was not in the cards under any scenario. So great job by them for developing him. Who's your Money Williams comp? Like, who does he remind you of when you watch him play?
That's a good question. I'm gonna have to think on that, because he's an interesting player, right? He's very skilled, but he's not he's not super explosive.
Right.
He's not the best 3-point shooter.
Oh.
I mean, he obviously can shoot, but that's not his, strength.
The mid-range is where his shooting is. But yeah, from deep, he's only shooting like 24%.
Yeah. And he just knows how to use angles, change of pace. Like I'm trying to tell this, I coach 5th grade. I'm trying to tell this to my kids all the time. Like, we have a couple kids who are like really, really fast on our team, and then we have a couple that aren't. And I'm like, it doesn't really matter how quick you are, how fast you are. You just have to be able to like know angles and change your pace and how you're moving. You'll see Money a lot of times. He'll walk it up and then boom, he just goes and he gets by his guy, because he kind of lulls him to sleep. And then obviously he's a really good passer. But I'm just curious on how, his usage rate is just through the roof. And I'm just curious on how, Montana is going to navigate that as the season goes along. Because I do think when you have one player who has such a high usage rate during the year, it can just make a couple other guys stagnant off the ball sometimes. And I have a lot of confidence that Coach Shakir is going to figure it out because he usually does. And here's the other thing. Like that Montana team last year, like they did not figure it out at this point last season. Like they were not that good. They were not that good at this point last season. Everyone just remembers that they were Big Sky champs and they're like, oh man, Joe Pridgeon was so awesome. Right. Malik Moore, Kai Johnson, like those guys were dogs. Like at this point in the year, like Kai Johnson hadn't really figured out his role yet. Malik Moore hadn't really necessarily, he had flash, but hadn't been a consistent player. I think Joe Pridgeon was pretty good all year, but those two guys hadn't really figured it out yet. And they weren't that good at this point in the year. So that's kind of something I'm going to be watching is can Montana figure out all their roles and prove as the season goes along because they usually do.
Well, it's so true because remember last year they went to Idaho State and got completely just wiped. They went to Weber and won, and then they went to Idaho State and lost by like 40. Got ran off the court, and we're all thinking like, what's going on? Travis had only lost Idaho State one time ever in his 11 seasons at the helm, and then they go get wiped to Pocatello. But then, like he would tell you, they had their annual, come to Jesus meeting in the locker room where they go crazy on each other. It seems to be an annual occurrence. And then they always figure out a way to rip off, 10, 11, 12 wins in a row. That's exactly what they did last year, too. And you're right. That was like in February. So they didn't figure it out till midpoint of the conference season.
Well, when there's not like a dominant team in the Big Sky, which is kind of where we've been at the last couple of years, the one thing we've learned is like all these teams are, they're decent, but none of them are like amazing. And they're all going to go through these ebbs and flows. Yes. I'm blanking on who was the Montana State center last year who ended up getting benched, and then they kind of went through their little evolution. The big fella who'd like played a lot for Montana State, right? And then he just rode the bench.
Oh, Brandon Walker.
Yeah. So like Montana State went through like this big evolution throughout the year, and they change identities and you change roles, and then and guys play more minutes and step up and things like that. So it's I think that especially this year with the Big Sky and how it is, I think a lot of fan bases are just going to have to be kind of patient and just see how their team kind of navigates. And that's where I think the elite coaches in the league we're going to start seeing some separation because those elite coaches are going to be able to make kind of those adjustments and find those roles for those guys as the year goes on.
Sean Rady, SWX Montana Television, joining us here on Nuanez Now. Okay, last thing for you. You were tweeting all the things you would do if you were king of the day for the Los Angeles Chargers. You got number one. Greg Roman got fired.
He's gone.
So the offensive coordinator out in LA for the Chargers. What's next? What else do they have to do to figure this thing out? Because they have some pieces that make them almost a contender. I think they're the best of like the middling team. Like they're better like long term than the Jags or probably even the Packers at this point. But they're still can't really get over the hump. What else would you change if you're the Chargers?
Well, the Ravens center, who's one of the best in the league, Linderbaum, is a free agent. I don't think they're going to let him go, but I think you got to sign a center and a guard, and then you got to draft a guard and a center. You got to just solidify the O-line and give Herbert some help because it's just been this thing for a couple of years now. And then just try and bring back a lot of your guys. It'll be interesting to see who they bring as offensive coordinator. Hopefully they throw the bag at, McDaniel, Dable or something like that and just get a good offensive coordinator, someone who can throw the ball down the field. It's kind of annoying because Herbert he's got this cannon of an arm, and in his like rookie and sophomore year, they're throwing it down the field and having all these big plays. And then all of their wide receivers kind of were slow and they didn't get like speed guys, and their offensive line was bad. So they just haven't been able to really utilize the strengths of him over the last few years. So hopefully they can just get back to that. I think they'll be fine. When you lose 2 all-pro tackles, there's not much you can do. Didn't have a whole lot of optimism, but excited to watch the rest of the playoffs. We'll see what happens. I think it's going to be, I'm going to go New England, Seattle, Super Bowl.
Whoa, New England, Seattle. Okay, I was going to ask you quickly.
Rematch, yeah.
Give me your leans. Bills at Broncos. Which way you leaning?
I'm not picking against Josh Allen. I think
it's hard to, right?
I think the Broncos are better, but I thought the Jags were a little bit better, and it just came down to Allen making plays. So give me Buffalo. Give me the Pats. I just think their offense is better than Houston's offense.
Yeah,
that's going to be a low scoring game.
Which way you lean into that one?
I think Seattle's going to smoke them. I think Seattle's their defense, I think, is going to lock them down. And then I think the Rams win, but I think the Bears cover.
I think that's good. I mean, the Bears are so like they make every game a 3-point game. So like the fact that they're 3.5, I mean,
home underdogs in the playoffs of 4 points or more are 9-0 in the playoffs. So, yeah, we'll see. But I think the Rams and I think Seattle beats the Rams, and then I think the Pats take down Buffalo in a rematch for the third time.
Wow. A blast from the past, a Seahawks Patriots Super Bowl. That'd be pretty fun for those fan bases. Sean Reedy, SWX Montana Television. You can find him on your television basically every day. And we appreciate it for being on our TV/radio show here. Thanks for doing it, man. Good to see you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on as always. And hey, let's hit another Nuanez Now money line, dude. That was awesome. Plus 3,900 because the Rainmaker's been a little cold. So I appreciate you picking me up this week.
More on betting with Brooks Nuanez coming up here in about half an hour. In the meantime, take a break, come back, 102.9 ESPN Radio. You're listening to Nuanez Now.
Are you a sports fan who loves to win? Get in on the action with Sportsbet Montana. Bet on collegiate and professional baseball, football, hockey, basketball, and more, all while keeping the money right here in Montana. It's easy and secure on our kiosks and mobile app. Head to your favorite Sportsbet Montana retail location to catch the game, place your bets, and celebrate your wins. Sportsbet Montana. Learn more at sportsbetmontana.com.
Lifestyle changes can be tough, but you don't have to do it alone. The Diabetes Prevention Program connects you with others who share your goals and helps you build healthy, lasting habits. Participants have cut their risk of diabetes by more than half, and even more for older adults. Smoking and vaping also increase your risk for diabetes and heart disease. Get free quit help at quitnowmontana.com or call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. To join the Diabetes Prevention Program at Missoula Public Health, call 406-880-5344 to register.
Abigail Coburn of Ryan, Miller, and Coburn Trial Attorneys has an extensive background in criminal defense, particularly federal drug charges.
It's amazing because I think the harder you work, the better outcomes you get for your clients. And so being able to see that immediate result of, while they are doing better, they did get a good result here, and now their life is not forever ruined by the outcome of their criminal case.
You can call Ryan, Miller, and Coburn Law anytime at 406-542-2233. You can also visit online at rmcattorneys.com. Ryan, Miller, and Coburn, your Montana attorneys.
You might be thinking, what's the big deal about a kids menu? Well, once you have kids, you know. It seems like it's getting harder and harder to find kid-friendly meals at affordable prices. At Paradise Falls, the kids menu is not only diverse, it's a total steal. For some of the cheapest prices in town, you can get hamburgers, mac and cheese, and other kid favorites for super low prices. Paradise Falls is a family-friendly restaurant open 7 days a week. Come enjoy a meal with your kiddos in Paradise at Paradise Falls, 3621 Brook Street, Missoula's coolest hotspot. All Nations Health Center is committed to keeping you vibrant and full of energy by supporting your physical, mental, and spiritual health. All Nations Health Center in Missoula offers a variety of services to the Indigenous and non-Indigenous people of Western Montana. All Nations offers primary care doctors, behavioral health services, mental health counseling, and even dental. All Nations currently serves more than 2,000 registered clients who are proud Indigenous people. For more information about how All Nations Health Center can help you, visit allnations.health.
Ladies, ready to dance the night away without staying out all night? Dance Till Dusk at the Badlander is January 31st. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. and it's wrapped up by 9:30 p.m. so you can party hard and still be in bed by 10. Plus a pre-party at Florid's Coffee and Cocktails with drink specials starting at 5. Because who says you can't be wild and well rested? Dance Till Dusk at the Badlander, Saturday, January 31st from 6:30 to 9:30. Follow Dance Till Dusk on Facebook and Instagram for more info.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
The first Prep Hoops polls for 2026 are out, and several of the Garden City's best are featured. Hello, I am Hayden Smith. The Class AA polls feature a pair of Missoula teams from both boys and girls basketball. On the ladies' side, Missoula Big Sky is number 3 thanks to a 5-2 start. Missoula Hellgate is off to a 5-1 start and sits at number 4. Bozeman Gallatin, the last undefeated AA girls team and the defending state champions, are number 1 in the first poll, while Billings West is number 2 and Billings Senior is number 5. In AA boys hoops, Butte High is number 1 in the first poll. Behind the stellar play of senior all-stater Hudson Lutke, the Bulldogs are 7-0 and the only unbeaten AA team. Hellgate is off to a 6-1 start after Tuesday's narrow win over Helena Capital and sits at number 3. And Lincoln Rogers and the Sentinel Spartans are 6-1 and sit at number 4. Billings West is 5-2 and sits at number 2, while defending champions Billings Skyview is 4-3 and comes in at number 5. Other teams from Western Montana that are ranked include Ronan at number 4 and Frenchtown at number 5 in the boys Class A, and Missoula Loyola at number 5 in boys Class B. The Frenchtown girls are number 5 in Class A, while the undefeated Missoula Loyola girls are number 2 in Class B. Florence Carleton's girls are off to a 6-1 start and sit at number 5 in Class B.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
My body turns and yearns for a sleep that won't ever come. It's never over. My kingdom for a kiss upon the shoulder. It's never over. All my riches.
I don't know if it's the greatest album of all time, like David Bowie says, but it's pretty dang good for a debut album. I talked about this yesterday, so I won't belabor the point, but Music Box, the documentary series on HBO, is awesome, and the one about Jeff Buckley is very interesting. Jeff Buckley is certainly a prodigious talent who had died a tragic death early on, and certainly we never knew what he got to become, but that debut album, Grace, widely critically acclaimed and an unbelievable listen. I listened to it a couple times yesterday. Really, really good, so that's why I'm on my Jeff Buckley kick. Our rivalry basketball coverage continues. Caught up with the voice of the Montana State Bobcats. Checking in now with Montana State women's basketball. Rivalry on the horizon, 2 p.m. at Brick Breeden Fieldhouse as Montana State hosts Montana. Daniel Sally will be on the call, as he has for the last couple of years. He's the voice of the Montana State women's basketball team. Daniel, thanks for being here, man. How you doing?
I'm great, man. It's a pleasure to be talking to you today.
First of all, I know you just got done with practice, so how's it been going? Interesting. These are always interesting when you have the long week, and usually on a Thursday, you know, you're getting ready for a game tonight, but a couple extra days to prepare. So, what's the preparation process been like for Montana State's women this week with the Lady Grizz coming to town?
Well, you know, Coach Ben, first of all, she loves this week. She loves Cat Grizz, and so she'll make sure the team's ready to go. And I think, you know, when you have a few more days of preparation, it really helps you simplify things for the team and, you know, kind of take your time in the preparation process instead of maybe feeling a little more rushed. So it's been smooth so far.
Well, it's been fun to watch this Bobcat women's team because, you know, I hate to say that I was right, but I'm right. I knew when they lost a couple of the gals they lost, it'd be hard to replace. But I honestly thought, okay, well, with what they're bringing in and what they have on their roster, if those young ladies can take the next step, I think they're going to be right there. And we've seen that. Taylor Chirick, she was a star last year. She's a superstar now. Madison Harris, you can see the potential, and now she's a premier level talent in the Big Sky Conference and on down the line. So I know last year, big expectations coming off of a 30-win year, but what have you seen out of this team that's helped them, you know, still sort of be in the driver's seat at least early on here in Big Sky Conference play?
Well, I think going into a season and you maybe have a couple people circled in your head who you expect to take a leap, like you mentioned. But, I think seeing what Taylor and Addie have done so far obviously stands out. You lose a player like Esme Morales, you're going to have a question at the point guard position just naturally. And I think Jamison's really stepped up in that role, just being a level head at that point guard position. And then, when she gets on the defensive side, she flips the switch and really gets after opposing teams. I think the moment I definitely realized we have a pretty special team on our hands was that UNLV game, and that was coming off of an already big win at Portland. But UNLV is a pretty big time program on the West Coast, whether it be mid major or not, and they came in here, and I thought we took care of business that night. And since then there's been some highs and there's been some lows, but all things considered, I think this team has a special level of togetherness, and they all love to compete. And that's a reflection of the head coach. Coach Binford's good at finding people, along with Sonny Smallwood, the recruiting coordinator. They're really good at finding people who match their level of intensity. And they come out and they defend, and they put their best foot forward every night. So that's been super fun to watch. And as they continue to grow and mature, being so young, I think they'll continue to approach a level of consistency that'll help make this a special year.
Well, so there's been a proof of concept now because Tricia Binford has been there for so long. She's proven that when she has these great groups that accomplish these great things and then they leave from graduation, that they can just turn the page. I mean, they've done it multiple times. They've had multiple of like the quote-unquote best teams in school history, and they've kept on sustaining. So what do you think is the key to that sustainability? How has she and her staff been able to just produce so many consistently great results, especially over these last 10 years?
I mean, I really admire it. I've been around a lot of good coaches at this point in my life, and watching the way Coach Ben leads, the way she runs her program, I think she's just made of all the right stuff. She looks for character. She looks for student athletes who are going to come in and really embody the core values of this program. She wants people who are going to be great students and be great teammates, be ones that can be depended on by their fellow teammates, and I just feel like she's taken the time to build a great culture here, and that's appealing to high school players that want to come in here and be a part of something special. And, I think no one player is ever bigger than the program, and she understands that and just, wants the people who want to be here, and she obviously wants to be here. And it's just been pretty amazing, being in year 4 in this program now to see the way she runs things, and she does an incredible job.
Daniel Sally joining us here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, as well as SWX Montana Television and the ESPN MT app. He's the play-by-play man for the radio broadcasts of Bobcat women's basketball. They host the Lady Grizz on Saturday afternoon. How about just the point guard transition? That's another proof of concept, right? She's had so many great point guards over the years. Esme Morales, one of the great players that's come through Montana State, Big Sky MVP a year ago, but they haven't really missed a beat. So what has been the key to that? And just take us through sort of that progression within the program this year.
Well, it's been pretty unique, to see the majority of the point guard duties being handled by 2 freshmen, and Jamison and Brienne. Obviously, Jamison's started every game for us so far this season, and she's someone who's just a really unique player to me. I think when she's got the ball in her hands and she's working as a playmaker, she's got a really level head. She's really steady, really good at taking care of the ball and making the right plays, setting up her teammates, or like we saw in overtime against Eastern Washington, getting to the rim and making things happen on her own sometimes. But then defensively, she just gets after the opponent. I mean, whether it be in the backcourt or in the half court, she's relentless on that end of the floor. And so, what she brings to the table is, I think, a really great fit for the style of play on this team and this program. And she's someone who has answered a lot of question marks that I think a lot of people probably had going into the season. And, she's done a great job. Brienne's been backing her up. She just had her best game of the season so far, I thought, on Saturday against Idaho. And I think between those two, you have a really, high level of talent. And obviously they're both freshmen, so, they're just getting started.
What's different about this Bobcat team than maybe last year? Because a lot of the stuff they're doing looks the same, and I think that's another testament to the stability of the program, right? Like, they still want to force a bunch of turnovers, and they're still going to put so much pressure on you. Guarding, in the full court and the half court is such a high priority for Coach Binford year in and year out. What's different about this team, though? What makes them sort of have their own identity maybe compared to last year and maybe previous years before that?
I think the biggest difference to me is last year's team just had so much experience. And while Esme was new to the program last year, she wasn't new to this league and she wasn't new to college basketball. So she was a vet and she was a leader. And then you had some players like KJ, Mara, Taylor, Lexi, who have played a ton of minutes of college basketball. And then you had Addie and Taylor as freshmen to come off the bench and just really turn it loose and not have to think much. And now you have Addie and Taylor as probably your 2 most experienced players, along with Ella Johnson and Izzy Bunyan. And, those 4 are the most experienced players we have. And, none of them are seniors. There's no seniors on the roster this year. And I think the youth definitely stands out. But there's also, I think, a level of hunger within this team. They like to fight, they like to compete, and they are out to prove themselves on a nightly basis, as far as I can tell. So I feel like, this year it's just, it's a more inexperienced group, but that doesn't stop them from going out there and playing with confidence every night.
Well, take us through last weekend, because it was sort of a tale of 2 games, right? But proving you can win in multiple ways, I think, is the sign of a really good team. And I watched the Thursday game. They couldn't shoot it a lick, but they figured out a way to guard well enough to drag it into overtime and then emerge and beat Eastern Washington. And then they shot the heck out of it on Saturday and almost scored 100. So just take us through
I think there was
the different styles.
For sure, yeah. There was definitely a level of excitement going into last week, mainly, for two main reasons. First of all, it's first time playing at home since December 6th when we played North Dakota. So I think coming back home brought a level of excitement, and then you take into account that, in my opinion at least, Eastern Washington and Idaho are two of the best teams in this conference, and two of the best coaching staffs as well. And so they came in here, and Thursday, I thought Eastern gave us their best punch. And I think a lot of teams are probably going to give us their best punch. That's what happens when you're the reigning champions of the league. A lot of people are going to come in and put their best foot forward. And I didn't feel like we were at our best throughout the majority of that game. But at the end of the day, it's about finding a way, especially when you're at home. Keaton and I always talk about, home wins being oxygen, road wins being gold in the Big Sky, especially with how the travel can be sometimes in this conference. And I thought, they got challenged going into the second half, and, they really answered the call. I thought Taylor really stepped up. I mean, her and Addie both had big scoring games. Jamison had a couple really big moments as well. And Eastern Washington, obviously, they're a tough physical team. They defend well always, and that's Coach Gleason. She does a fantastic job getting her teams ready to go. So I thought that was definitely a really good test, and to be able to come out of there with the win, especially after how we looked through the first two, maybe three quarters, just a testament to being able to find a way, I thought, against a very good team. And then in the Idaho game, I thought the biggest difference was bench production. Thursday night against Eastern Washington, the bench scored 4 points. And Saturday, the bench scored 47 points, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a big difference. And you got to be able to lean on your bench when you're picking up full court like we do all game. So I thought that was a huge, huge difference in the Idaho game.
If you're Montana State, what's the number one concern you have with Montana coming to town then on Saturday?
To me, there's a couple things. Well, first of all, I'm not sure what Matt Koenig's status is, and as far as my radio preparation goes, I'll have my section for her ready to go because I think it's obvious that she's one of the very best players in the Big Sky. But after that, I think you have a team in Montana that leads the Big Sky in 3-point attempts, and you have a team in Montana State that right now is 10th in 3-point field goal percentage defense. So that'll be an interesting matchup to keep an eye on. And, the other thing is you look up and down the numbers for Montana State's defense, and, they're top 10 in the nation in turnovers forced per game. They're forcing 26 turnovers per game right now, maybe 26 and a half. You have Taylor Chirick, who's top 5 in the country in steals per game. Right now, we're 3rd in the country in steals per game and also top 10 in turnover margin. So, those are things that can help disrupt the flow of Montana and hopefully help stop them from getting a lot of clean looks from outside because, when they get into a rhythm, they're a really tough team to guard because they can spread you out, move the ball around, and get some really clean looks. I think, I already mentioned Mac. I think Avery Waddington's another player who's obviously one of the best players in this league as well, and she had big games against us last year too, so keeping an eye on her, making sure she's, being disrupted, not having the clean looks that she's looking for. So I think those things are definitely big. And I noticed just throughout the week and getting ready for this game that you look at Montana's starting lineup and you have Schubert and Land and Waddington, and those three combined are taking almost 17 threes a game. So that's going to be in, an area where for Montana State, it's just like, making that more difficult for them because they're going to be looking for it, it seems like.
Well, last thing for you, it's going to be quite a celebratory weekend in Bozeman because they're having the national championship parade for the football team, and I'm sure we're going to see multiple trophies get paraded around Brick Breeden Fieldhouse. That's going to be an interesting thing for both sides, I think, to handle, right? So if you're Montana State, though, how do you sort of ride that momentum? How do you sort of play off of the exterior excitement that is already going to add to what is always a great rivalry atmosphere?
Yeah, I think, the biggest thing is the team showing up to shoot around in the morning locked in. I think that's when a lot of the parade stuff is going to be happening kind of in the build up to the game. I'd expect a slightly bigger crowd on Saturday with all that going on and people being able to make their way over from the celebration for the championship over to the Brick for the game at 2:00. But, I think these are the types of things that you want to see happening within an athletic department. And I think that's a testament to the success that all the programs around here have had under Leon's watch. And for the football team to finally get over the hump, I think that's a testament to their character, what they're about as a program. And obviously they had to be resilient in that national championship game. And I think that sends a great message around the department. But this week brings a level of excitement that comes on its own. I think, I've really noticed and appreciated since I've been here. This is a rivalry that, I don't think you necessarily get everywhere else. I think it's different than any rivalry I've ever been a part of as a fan or as someone who's worked in athletics for a little while now. And I just feel like that carries a level of excitement and emotion that takes care of itself. So, I feel like that'll be a big thing. And, with a lot of players on our team, it being their first Cat Grizz game, that's probably something to keep an eye on as well. But we're going to expect a great crowd on Saturday. The Gold Rush theme, I think, adds a little bit to the ambiance as well. But it's an exciting day. And, I think it's just a matter of being able to, keep your cool and stay locked in.
Daniel Sally here on Nuanez Now, 109 ESPN Radio. Good stuff, man. Appreciate you providing some insight for Montana State women's basketball. He'll be live on the call across the Bobcat Radio Network on Saturday. But thanks so much for doing it, man. And we'll see you in Bozeman on Saturday.
Yeah, Coulter, thanks, man. Always appreciate it and appreciate your coverage.
Keep those texts coming in. You thirsty? It's Thursday. We got DraftWorks for you. You want free DraftWorks? All you got to do is let us know a question. What subjects do you want us to talk about? 406-888-1029. Keep those texts coming in. Thursday, every Thursday here on Nuanez Now. Presented by DraftWorks Brewing. Take a break, come back. More guys coming back. This is a turnabout. We haven't seen a lot of this happen that often. Maybe it's a trend. We'll discuss next. Keep it right here. 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Cold weather cravings? The Montana Club has got you covered with scratch-made comfort food to match every craving. From perfectly grilled steaks to satisfying salads, they're ready to handle your hunger. So grab a table with a reservation or keep it casual and order delivery straight to your door. Great food made easy. Visit MontanaClub.com to order or reserve and come warm up at your Montana Club. Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
Get ready, hockey fans. The highly anticipated Grizz Hockey Winter Classic is coming to Kalispell on Saturday, January 17th. University of Montana Grizzlies go head-to-head with Washington State. Outdoors under the Montana sky at Woodland Park Ice Rink. Puck drops at 6 p.m. Feel the energy with limited edition throwback jerseys, a beer garden, food trucks, and fire pits to keep things warm. Tickets are general admission, and this game supports Flathead Valley Youth Hockey. Get tickets and details at grizzhockey.com, and don't miss it when the Grizz hit the ice. Spartan's Tuning and Missoula's most trusted truck and auto repair shop, servicing foreign and domestic makes and models. But that's not all. Spartan's Tuning is equipped with cutting-edge ADAS calibration technology, making sure your car's advanced driver assist systems like lane assist and automatic braking are in top shape. And with AAA approval, Spartan Tuning is Missoula's most go-to shop for quality, reliable service you can trust. Visit SpartansTuning.com for more info or call 406-728-4081.
How would you describe opportunity? Your next opportunity starts with the right financial partner. At Opportunity Bank, we're helping to build strong financial futures for Montanans. Whether growing your business or buying your dream Montana home, consider us your local guide to whatever's next. Opportunity awaits with Opportunity Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Bank NMLS 412554.
Is delayed service on your roll-off box slowing your construction project down? Call Grizzly Disposal and get yours within 24 hours. Don't wait days or even weeks for your construction roll-off box. Grizzly Disposal has them in stock and can get them to you fast. Visit grizzlydisposal.com or call 406-541-7171. 24-hour turnaround times and a commitment to doing what they say they're going to do. Locally and veteran-owned, Grizzly Disposal, the only bears that should be in your garbage.
If you're in search of a trading card of your favorite player, or if your kids are, swing into Zootown Sports Cards. If there's a card of a player you're searching for, Zootown Sports Cards has the cards. With an almost endless collection of singles and inserts, whatever and whoever you're in the market for, Zootown Sports Cards has it. 1990s NBA stars, Zootown has it. 2000s football players, Zootown has it. And looking through the collection is half of the fun. Come check out all of what Zootown Sports Cards has to offer in the Stevens Center in Missoula.
It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
What a strange and awesome time in music. The Cure on the way back here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Appreciate you for hanging with us. Keep those questions coming in if you want to get entered in to win DraftWorks, free DraftWorks brewing for you. We got a $25 gift card. All you got to do is text us questions. What do you want us to talk about? What subjects are you interested in? 406-888-1029. Text us, and every text will get you entered in to win $25 from DraftWorks. First of all, the news of the day, Adam Jones coming back. That was sort of implied by one of his posts earlier this week, but he didn't actually give the resounding, I'm back post, which is at the same time fascinating and nauseating that that's the state of affairs that we live in now. That's what happens when guys are not transferring. They announce that they're just staying at the place that they're at. But is what it is. Like I always say, don't hate the player, hate the game. These guys didn't create the game. They just live in the world that we live in. Jones said, though, today officially, I'm back. Said, nowhere I'd rather be. So that's a big boost for the Bobcats, as the Missoula Sentinel product has been a 1,000-yard rusher back-to-back years and has been tremendous there at MSU. And he's going into his junior year. He said certainly be a team captain after serving as a team captain this last year as a sophomore. Taden Gray also announced he was back. That was sort of assumed. So basically, if you're keeping track, the headlining players from Montana State that are back that maybe were, guys that could have gone elsewhere, Titan Fleischman and Braden Zimmer on the offensive line, Burke Mastel on the offensive line. Braden Zimmer's actually not announced yet, so TBD on that, but I'm expecting now that Montana State's in school, if there's no announcement of them transferring, that they'd probably be back. But certainly announcements, Burke Mastel and Titan Fleischman up front, Justin Lamson at quarterback, Adam Jones at running back, Taco Dowler at wide receiver, Caden Dowler, Taco's twin brother, at safety, Taden Gray at nickel, Takari Carr at corner. The defensive line pretty much in full. They graduate. Probably the only other guy that's a guy that would get big-time offers is Cole Taylor. He has not announced one way or the other, but I expect him to be back as well. And so basically a large core of the now defending national champions are back. Good questions here that you guys just asked. One about Troy Anderson's health. Troy Anderson has been on the physically unable to perform list for the Atlanta Falcons for most of this year. And there's a bunch of speculation on the internet. Some of the pundits that cover the Falcons are asking if Troy if Atlanta should cut ties with Troy, the former Montana State All-American. My inside sources, this is from people that know Troy Anderson, is that Troy was actually ready to go the last couple of weeks of the year, but they decided to keep him on the shelf because they do want to re-sign him, but they wanted him to not have a bunch of performance on the books so they could be a little bit more affordable. So make what you will of that, but I thought that was interesting. He comes back for a month and goes bananas, and all of a sudden you got a lot of people wanting him. This way, I think you can keep him in house. So we'll see. The tale of Troy Anderson is not finished. The other good question we got here just in the last couple minutes was about Dylan Cook, who's another Montana boy from Butte who played offensive line at the University of Montana. He started on Monday Night Football for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a great story of perseverance. And we've seen this a couple times when a guy, they find a way to get into a camp, they find a way to linger on a practice squad, and then they sort of hang on for a couple years, but they're not really getting any playing time. They're bouncing back and forth between practice and active. Cook did this with Tampa Bay and now Pittsburgh. but then one injury happens and you get your chance. And I thought Cook held his own against the Texans, which is saying something because I think that's the best pass rush duo in the league. I think Will Anderson is one of the best players in the NFL. I think Danielle Hunter is one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. And Cook did well at left tackle for Pittsburgh. He did well enough, I think, to get a contract to be on an active roster, either in Pittsburgh or elsewhere. This is the same deal that Mike Person from Montana State went through, Glendive product. He bounced around on practice squads. He kept getting cut. He kept getting moving all over the place. Then he got one chance to start, and then he signed an actual long-term deal, and boom, he plays in the NFL for 9 years. So if that's the fate for Cook, that's great. We are certainly rooting him on from afar. And it's always cool there's Montana guys in the NFL. Hour 1 in the books, hour 2 coming at you. We'll keep on talking football. Brooks Nuanez, all things NFL. On the other side, don't change that down. Keep it right here, 102.9 ESPN Radio. You know all that gunk that gets stuck on the bottom of your car? It's nice that the city of Missoula de-ices the roads for us, but that stuff can really hurt your paint job and erode the undercarriage of your rig. That's why it's important to keep your car clean all winter long at Dazzler's Car Wash. Get yourself an unlimited membership at Dazzler's Car Wash. For just $37 a month, you can get your car washed every single day. Treat your car like it deserves to be treated at Dazzler's Car Wash of Missoula, located at 2610 Radio Way in the Garden City.
Are you a sports fan who loves to win? Get in on the action with Sportsbet Montana. Bet on collegiate and professional baseball, football, hockey, basketball, and more, all while keeping the money right here in Montana. It's easy and secure on our kiosks and mobile app. Head to your favorite Sportsbet Montana retail location to catch the game, place your bets, and celebrate your wins. Sportsbet Montana. Learn more at sportsbetmontana.com.
Fundraising is not always a popular word. Then you throw in some parents who don't really know how to do it, and it can become stressful. Vertical Raise can implement hands-on with any high school sports team to help maximize your fundraising efforts. Peter Hamill is an expert in making the process easy and ensuring your team gets the biggest check possible, so your season can go smoothly. Vertical Raise can help provide opportunities for family and friends of your kids to support them from afar. Not everyone can come watch a game, but plenty can contribute to a great cause. To find out how Vertical Raise can help your organization raise money, visit verticalraise.com.
Make the switch to Farmer State Bank and you'll instantly become part of something bigger, something different, something more. That's because we are a community bank. That means local banking, local decision-making, local support for the people, businesses, and communities you care about. Switch to local. Switch to Farmer State Bank, your Montana bank since 1907. An equal housing lender and member FDIC.
Red's Bar is a beloved institution in downtown Missoula. Whether you want to watch a game, enjoy a cold beer, spend time with friendly faces, or simply wind down, the welcoming atmosphere and wonderful staff at Red's will make you feel right at home. Red's features 14 HD TVs and 2 full-service bars. Stop by and grab a beer with friends while you watch your favorite team play and check out the extensive collection of awesome sports memorabilia. Red's Bar in downtown Missoula, the friendliest sports bar in town.
That's the word dive. Dive.
The sailors of the USS Montana build on legacies every day.
Monty Weiser, Missile Technician, 2nd Class. USS Henry L. Simpson, 1971. I love that boat. The Montana is so much more technology advanced than we were.
For more, go to ussmontanacommittee.us.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
The first prep hoops polls for 2026 are out, and several of the Garden City's best are featured. Hello, I am Hayden Smith. The Class AA polls feature a pair of Missoula teams from both boys and girls basketball. On the ladies' side, Missoula Big Sky is number 3 thanks to a 5-2 start. Missoula Hellgate is off to a 5-1 start and sits at number 4. Bozeman Gallatin, the last undefeated AA girls team and the defending state champions, are number 1 in the first poll, while Billings West is number 2 and Billings Senior is number 5. In AA boys hoops, Butte High is number 1 in the first poll. Behind the stellar play of senior all-stater Hudson Ludke, the Bulldogs are 7-0 and the only unbeaten AA team. Hellgate is off to a 6-1 start after Tuesday's narrow win over Helena Capital and sits at number 3. And Lincoln Rogers and the Sentinel Spartans are 6-1 and sit at number 4. Billings West is 5-2 and sits at number 2, while defending champions Billings Skyview is 4-3 and comes in at number 5. Other teams from Western Montana that are ranked include Ronan at number 4 and Frenchtown at number 5 in the boys Class A, and Missoula Loyola at number 5 in boys Class B. The Frenchtown girls are number 5 in Class A, while the undefeated Missoula Loyola girls are number 2 in Class B. Florence Carleton's girls are off to a 6-1 start and sit at number 5 in Class B.
This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Missing the first hour, you can always find it on the Nuanez Now podcast, which is available on all your various podcast hosting platforms. Please rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. We heard from Sean Rainey, SWX Montana Television. We also heard from Daniel Sally, the play-by-play man for Montana State women's basketball, and also answered a few of your questions. Keep those questions coming in. If you want free DraftWorks, we got a gift card for you to DraftWorks, 406-888-1029. What sports questions do you have? It can be anything, high school sports, college sports, whatever. Keep those questions coming in, 406-888-1029. As always, Nuanez Now coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. If you have a construction project going on and you need a construction roll-off box, give Grizzly Disposal a call. They can get a roll-off box to you within 24 hours. Call anytime, 406-541-7171. That's 406-541-7171. Grizzly Disposal, the only Bears that should be in your garbage. We hit a big one last week. We won't brag too much. Football all the time. Brooks Nuanez joining us here on this Thursday. No Thursday night game, though. We are down to, how sad is this? 7 NFL games remaining. There's 4 this weekend, 2 next weekend, and then the Super Bowl. You count the college football national championship playoff title game on Monday, and single digits for football remaining in the calendar year. How sad. We forge forward, though. First of all, I got to start with this crazy thing that has been going around on the internet. Did you read this about the electromagnetic field that is next to the 49ers practice field, and the theories that this is why they get so hurt?
Yeah, I did read this. Did you deep dive it, though? Because I did not.
I did. I mean, there's several Bay Area doctors that have debunked this theory, but it is interesting because it's been so perplexing as to why the San Francisco 49ers have had devastating ligament injuries basically yearly for very many of their best players. And then this article saying it's because it's next to this facility, the substation that casts off EMFs, that's electromagnetic fields. That's what's causing frequent soft tissue injuries and ligament injuries to the 49ers. This article came out last Friday, and then George Kittle tore his Achilles on Sunday. Yeah, it's a pretty bold strat there, Cotton, to go ahead and say that you're getting, microwaved your Achilles. But I mean, hey, I'm a conspiracy fan. I like to at least hear about them, so maybe I'll do a little reading and we'll catch back up, later in the season. Well, it's an entry point to talking about the 49ers because last week we went 5 of 6 on our picks. If you rode with us on our 5-part parlay, then you hit at plus 3,900. So congratulations to you. That was one of our biggest hits of all time since we've been doing this over the last 3 years. All football all the time, probably presented by Sportsbet Montana. But the one game that we were a little bit off on was the 49ers-Eagles game, although I did middle it and put I was all in. I wanted the Niners. I know. So regardless, that's the... 3 road teams won, but that's the most impressive of the road wins, just in terms of the team that was maybe up against it the most. The Niners have been great this year despite all their injuries. I mean, they were down to the wire to even get the 1 seed before they lost in Seattle in Week 18. Where do you put the Niners now, though? They're in the final 4 teams in the NFC. Could they win it? Like, do they have another chance to go on the road and win a game, or where are you at with the Niners? Like, are they an actual contender now that they just knocked off the Super Bowl defending Super Bowl champs?
I think they were before they knocked off the champs. And if you remember last week, Coulter, I said that it was by far, not even close, the best matchup draw for any team in the playoffs. If you're a beat-up Niners defense with a pretty electric offense, you want to play the worst offense in the playoffs. That's the Eagles.
The worst offense in the league, man.
I thought Houston's win against Pittsburgh was the best road win. Just Monday night in Pittsburgh.
Yep, great
Mike
win.
Tomlin on his way out.
Aaron Rodgers maybe on his way out.
Absolutely. So, I mean, while I understand the Niners, I think that the Niners have been surging. I think that they played the number 1 seed Seattle Seahawks the last week of the season quite tough. I do think that the Niners have a chance here. I mean, the fact that remaining in the playoffs are their division rivals in the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks gives them some familiarity. It gives them some prep that they already have done all that work for. 2 games during the season against each of those teams. I wouldn't bet the Niners to win it, but I do think that they're in the mix.
If Monday night was in fact Aaron Rodgers' last game, which by all indications it seems like it is, Aaron Rodgers, you asked this in our group text, Aaron Rodgers is the what greatest quarterback of all time? Name the quarterbacks that are definitively better than Aaron Rodgers, both in performance and resume.
Tom Brady.
Yep.
Joe Montana.
Yep.
And I think the list ends there.
Patrick Mahomes?
Yes.
3 rings?
Yep.
Peyton Manning?
No.
2 Super Bowl rings and 4 MVPs like Rodgers?
No. I think that Aaron Rodgers is...
John Elway?
No. I think that
5 Super Bowl appearances, 2 Super Bowl championships?
That's fine.
I'm with you. I think that Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers is a really good argument. I think that Mahomes is probably edges him out. I think for sure Brady and Montana are 1-2. And
he's got to be top. So he's no question top 10.
I think Mahomes, Elway, Peyton Manning, and Aaron Rodgers can be ranked in any. There's an argument to rank any of those guys in any particular order. I would take Elway third probably, then Mahomes, and then I do think that number 5 spot though between A-Rod and Peyton Manning, it's a really good argument.
I guess that Aaron Rodgers didn't play quite as early in his career, but what do you remember, or rather have kind of taken in as far as John Elway's first 5 years in the league?
It's a great question. I mean,
he was not a great player.
He
threw a lot of picks, lost a lot of football,
and it was before I was alive.
Right.
Totally.
Right. Me too. Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, Elway was. You're right. Elway had a hard time finding his footing early, but they were good. I mean, 12-2 in year 2, 11-5, 11-5, 8-3. He was hurt a little bit that year, but you're right. I mean, the numbers are nothing crazy, and then turns the corner. In the 90s, Elway was really, really good, but I think the thing that the crux of Aaron Rodgers is. Like I told Hayden, if aliens came to Earth and they asked, how would you describe playing quarterback? Or like, what does it look like to play the best version of quarterback? You'd show them film of Aaron Rodgers.
I think that's probably fair.
And that's where it's like his talent and his ability doesn't match up with his resume. Perennially in the playoffs, but only played in 1 Super Bowl and only won 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah, I just think that his streak of, and I've been a critic of Aaron Rodgers just because I think his leadership style or lack thereof has hurt his teams throughout the years. But his streak of 30-plus touchdowns, less than 5 interceptions for about 3 or 4 years there was as high a level as anyone's played the position. So, I mean, and they're going 13-3 every year. He's throwing 37 touchdowns and 3 picks. We're talking about as high a level as the position has been played. So when you talk about someone's peak, he also has a little bit of longevity, too. I mean, this little resurgence here to come back at age 42 and make the playoffs with, obviously a historic team that continues to make the playoffs now for the better part of the last 15 years. Yeah. But I still think that I do think that does build on his resume a touch for that longevity piece. But as far as his peak, it's really hard to say. I mean, you can throw Dan Marino in there for his peak as far as talent-wise goes, but I don't know, man. I think Aaron Rodgers is a top 5 quarterback of all time.
Well, football time. Brooks Nuanez joining us here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, proudly presented by SportsBet Montana. It was a great slate of games last week. The only real stinkers were the Monday night game, but I mean, first of all, I had money on the Texans, and that was the final leg of the parlay, so it was fun to watch. And also, it's sort of fun to watch a team emerge like the Texans have. I mean, people forget they started 0-3. They were 1-4. Now they're 13-5. So they're as hot as it. I mean, they've won 12 out of their last 13. They're as hot as it gets. The Chargers-Patriots game was a clunker, but it was fascinating to watch just because the Chargers couldn't block anybody. Like the thing that had held the Chargers back all year, yet they had been able to overcome more often than not to get into the playoffs, was the thing that sunk their season. And it's a huge, it needs to be a huge priority in the offseason. But and the Patriots ran roughshod, but the other games were phenomenal. Josh Allen with the comeback Houdini trick to win in Jacksonville and move the Bills on. Panthers gave Rams everything they could handle. That was a lot closer than maybe people thought. 49ers, Eagles went back and forth all Sunday afternoon. And Bears-Packers was an instant classic. The Bears rallying from a 21-3 deficit to win going away. So any other thoughts on that first round and just how nip and tuck it was, especially for most of the games, most of the day games on both Saturday and Sunday?
Well, it always feels good when you have a perception of a team and then you kind of end up on the right side of it.
Sure.
It gives you a feeling of, you built this thing for 18 weeks and you watch a lot of football. You try to give good advice and bet on good lines, and then you find it when it's at its peak that you're kind of falling on the right side of it. Makes you feel like you're seeing it. For me, I thought that San Francisco definitely took a step forward. I thought that Buffalo that was a good win. No matter what anyone wants to say, Buffalo hasn't won on the road in the playoffs since 1991.
First time Josh Allen's ever won a road playoff game.
And when you look back, you're like, that's crazy. No one wins road playoff games, so it's not like it's just the Bills or just Josh Allen.
Sure, like a lot of people don't have a lot of road playoff wins for sure.
Yeah, or a lot of people just in general, their playoff record would be shocking. Like to go above 500 in the playoffs means that you won some Super Bowls, and it means that you had 4 wins and 1 postseason. Otherwise, you're going 0-1. Like it's easy to rack up losses in the playoffs from a historical perspective. But I do think that the LA Rams I thought were one of the best teams in the playoffs, and they had to fight tooth and nail against a Panthers team that kind of has their number. So I think that the Rams are going to really tell us a lot this week. I don't know how much I garnered from them this last week. The Bears looked like who they were. They continue to be the fourth quarter cardiac kids, and I don't still know where I land on the Bears, but they kind of fulfilled what we thought. And then lastly, I mean, the Patriots and the Chargers was just a junky, gross defensive game that I don't think I learned a bunch about the Patriots. I kind of knew who the Chargers were, but mostly what I learned, Coulter, was what I was anticipating, but really came to fruition was how good the Houston Texans are.
No doubt.
I think that they have a real chance to go ahead and play in the AFC Championship game and win that thing, and I think they have a real chance to make a run at a Super Bowl.
I mean, they do. The issue is just, like you said, it's so hard to win on the road in the playoffs, and they're going to be on the road unless Buffalo upsets the Broncos. Like it would take Houston winning in New England and Buffalo winning in Denver. That's not an unfeasible situation, though. I mean, I think that the Denver Bills game is a straight-up coin flip, probably, and I think that Patriots-Texans have a chance to be really good as well. When you look at these last 8 teams, it's Broncos, Bills, Patriots-Texans, Seahawks, 49ers, Bears, Rams. To me, that list just looks like, even though the seeds are a little different, looks like the top 8 teams in the NFL to me. Is there anybody that should be there that isn't there? Like, is there any disappointing non-qualifiers, or do we basically have the Elite 8 as the 8 best teams in the league right now?
I mean, honestly, at the last 5 weeks of the season, Tampa Bay falls off, Indianapolis falls off, Green Bay starts to struggle.
Chargers struggle.
Chargers struggle. Denver never found their footing. Baltimore and Pittsburgh.
Eagles look terrible all year, even though they somehow figured out a way to piece it together to get the 11 wins and the 3 seed.
So it's easy to say because it's sitting there on paper, but I mean, I think Jacksonville would be the only team that's
Jacksonville.
Otherwise, it looks like the best teams.
So let's talk about that then, because I still think Jacksonville is actually the better team in that game. Watching the Bills, like the Bills are pretty clearly I think that they're the worst team left in this field, but that doesn't really matter because they have the best player. So balance that for us, because like it's Josh Allen versus the world right now. But I mean, that's if you got Josh Allen, you got a fighting chance, right?
Yeah, I mean, I picked the Bills to be in the Super Bowl before the season started, right. And that's for a reason, because I think that Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the NFL right now. And, any guy can have his week and any guy can have his month. But as far as season over season, his ability to play physical, run the football, his leadership style, it fits in Buffalo, it fits with the team. I just think that Josh Allen's the best player in the NFL right now. And sure, we could talk about we could talk defensively. We could talk Christian McCaffrey. All sorts of different things that play into what it takes to be, quote unquote, the best player in the league. We know this is a quarterback-driven sport. And right now, as far as the playoffs go, the remaining quarterbacks that are listed, yeah, sure, you got Matty Stafford, but it's Josh Allen.
Yeah, if you're within 10 points in going into the fourth quarter, if you're within striking distance, then Josh Allen gives you a chance. I mean, it's as simple as that. If it's a one-possession game, you're absolutely all the way in it. And if he gets the ball multiple times in the last 10 minutes of a game, he's just so good at making stuff happen and guiding his team. So he himself and just just how intimidating and how productive he can be, it makes the Bills one of the teams that's a favorite. But I mean, everybody that's in this last 8 now certainly has at least an outside shot at making a run at a conference title.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And we'll see, because this is a crazy team for Josh Allen to have to play. You know, I think that everyone across the country is saying there's no Lamar Jackson, there's no Patrick Mahomes, there's no Joe Burrow in these playoffs. And they have to go play this Denver team that in 10 years you might say, wow, Josh Allen could never get it done in the playoffs. Who the heck is Nick Bonito? And it's like, you have to go play this real deal Denver defense, and that's going to be a problem to have to face, especially at home.
No doubt. All right, so 4 games this week. Let's just start at the top of the Saturday games. That is the first game on the slate. Buffalo at Denver. Man, I don't know what the spread is on this one. I think it's probably a coin flip. I think this is probably just straight up even money. I bet you the money line is right there, just straight up minus 102 on either side. Maybe Denver by a point, just because they're at home.
Yeah, I guess 2.5 for Denver, but you're correct. It is 1.5, so it's that more or less even money across the board, a 45.5 point over-under, which is not extremely high, but it's also healthy enough to get some scores in this game. You know, that's an implied 24-22 kind of game, so 24-21, which would be a little bit under my prediction. I think that this game will hit the over. I think that this game is more of a 28-24 kind of game, just because Josh Allen is going to have to score to keep up with this kind of defense.
He'll force the possession count, and exactly. The Bills aren't very good on defense either.
That's exactly right. That's kind of what I'm getting at, is that Denver, while I think they can hold them down and force some punts, they're going to give up a couple scores. This is just, I mean, Josh Allen and James Cook are going to produce at some point. So I do think that the line is probably right. The total's probably right. I do like the over here, and I'm still trying to figure out which way I lean as far as the winner goes.
I am too. So we'll return to that one. The Saturday night game is a rematch of a Week 18 game between two division rivals, as San Francisco goes on the road to take on Seattle. Seattle's great at home. Seattle won 2 weeks ago 13-3. The 49ers won in Week 1. These teams bookended their schedule, so that was pretty weird. They played in Week 1 and Week 18.
So silly.
It's so silly. The NFC West schedule was so weird because they, like, the Niners gained so much footing because they played 5 of their divisional games in the first 2 months of the year.
Right.
They were 4-1 in the division
before the season even started.
Before it was like halfway through the season, which is just an interesting spot, and that really helped them tread water and stay in the race with that in the NFC West. So,
yeah, absolutely.
But the fact that Seattle won by 10 in Seattle a couple weeks ago, I think means the Seahawks probably are 5 or 6 point favorites. I'm going to say 5.5 at home.
Yeah, I said 4.5. It's 7.5 with the hook.
Whoa.
Which is a big number. I mean, I like everything. Seattle is such a good team, but I kind of have just from...
Who's better, Brock Purdy or Sam Darnold?
Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Just from an outside perspective of like quote unquote NFL fandom, I kind of still have Sam Darnold PTSD from last year.
Totally.
You know, like I don't know what really happened or why the Vikings got rid of him or what all these. I mean, I know all those things, but I still have this lingering feeling of like Sam Darnold's just going to go cake this thing and make it to the Super Bowl. Like, is that happening?
I mean, the Seahawks are the overwhelming betting favorites right now on the futures bets to win the Super Bowl.
I know.
They're minus 300. Nobody else is better than minus or plus 500.
They can't run the football all that effectively, and then they have Sam Darnold. I get the defense. I get the head coach
is
mentality.
good, and Jackson Smith and Jigba is one of the best playmakers in the league. But I totally agree, man.
It just doesn't, like, how are they just going to overcome Matt Stafford, Kyle Shanahan? I mean,
right, if they would have ran away with that division, it'd be a different story. But like they were 2 bounces away from being third place in that division, and being a 6th seed,
right? Being on the road,
which
being
is
the Rams,
or being the Niners. I mean,
right.
So I agree with you. I'm not all in on Seattle either.
I have been during the regular season. There's a lot of experience and a lot of talent that they're going to have to get through to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yep. So, all right, we'll hold off on.
I still like them to win this game, and I also want to flirt with that total on the under, but we will see.
45.5?
Yeah, again, 24-21 was the implied. I kind of like this game, like 21-17.
I mean, it was 17-13 in the first one and 13-3 in the second one. So you have a couple sample sizes. Nobody got to 20.
Right.
So I think that's pretty accurate. All right. All football all the time, probably presented by SportsBet Montana. Get the SportsBet Montana app on your mobile device. You can make your bets, and then boom, you go to the QR code, and then you can just screenshot it and then go right up to the kiosk, place it on the scanner. Makes your bets way easier, especially when you're doing parlays, et cetera, et cetera. Go download that app or visit the SportsBet Montana website. Appreciate SportsBet Montana for their continued support of all football all the time here on Nuanez Now. All right, the Sunday morning, I guess Sunday afternoon, early afternoon, 1 p.m. kick, Houston at New England. Man, toss-up, but New England's at home, so Patriots -2.5.
That's what I guess, too. It's 3.5 with the hook.
Interesting.
It's a 40.5 point over-under, which is the lowest of the divisional slate. Kind of an implied of, random numbers here, but, 17-21 would get you close. There might be weather. They're talking about this being a snow game, which would affect Houston, who is a dome team.
Yep.
Do you want to hear my early lean here, Coulter?
Houston had never won a road playoff game in their 23-year history as a franchise until they went to Pittsburgh, but they did it on Monday, and they did it resoundingly.
And C.J. Stroud looked terrible and turned the ball over, and they were just so dominant on defense. I don't know. I've said this a lot about the Bears. I've said this now about the Seattle Seahawks. How does Drake May deal with this?
With Houston's defense?
Does he have enough?
Right.
Does Diggs and Booty playing receiver have enough for this secondary, who I believe is the best secondary in the league?
Best secondary in the league, best pass rush duo in the league, best linebackers in the league. That's how you have the best defense in the league.
Like, does Will Campbell, the rookie, have anything for Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter? Like, can they deal with this? I would, as a betting man, say no. While I think it'll be a very close game, I just love where the Houston Texans are right now, and I just have a hard time betting against them.
I do too. So break that part down, though, because the Texans are the best defense in the league based on personnel, attitude, and the guy who's running it, who's the head coach, and D'Amico Ryans. The Patriots are one of the 5 best defenses in the league, and it's a completely different style. They play like almost a platoon style. They have like 18 or 19 guys that contribute at a high level. They come at you in waves. They're doing it the old school Patriot way, where it's a bunch of guys with chips on their shoulders. Like one game on primetime this year, they started 9 guys who had been cut by their previous team. 9 of their 11 defensive starters have been cut by their previous team. So they're getting guys with attitudes that are basically saying, like, nobody believed in us, let's go make this thing happen. Also, a lot of the film breakdown, people are saying that, like, the coverages are so cloudy, they're so hard to comprehend because they make it so confusing on you, both pre and post snap. So 2 really good defenses doing it in totally different ways. My biggest worry for the Texans is, can Stroud handle the confusion of the New England defense?
Yeah, no, I agree that Stroud is going to have uphill sledding in this game. I just think that the Texans are going to hold every single team in this field. I mean, who knows about Buffalo and Denver? I mean, It depends on where they're playing. I think they hold every single team in this field under 20 points.
Well, so here's the deal. Houston has won 12 out of the last 13 since their 1-4 start. During that stretch, they're giving up 15.2 points per game, and that's with giving up a 30-burger in a shootout to the Colts in the season finale.
Sure.
Take that one out. They're giving up less than 2 touchdowns a game. That's historically good defensively in terms of the numbers that they're giving up like 240 yards of total offense a game. It's basically a stone wall.
Yep.
So,
and I do think, the special teams, kicking is a huge part of football, whether you like it in fantasy football, whether you respect the kicking game or not. Kai Fairbairn is one of the best kickers in the league, and I've seen the Texans win games with 5 field goals and a touchdown. That gets you to 22 points, and they're winning games that way. I think that is something to monitor, weather dependent. If it's a crazy snowstorm, I might lean on New England just at home, to control the atmosphere a little bit better, but yeah, Colter, like I mentioned, there's nothing that I want to do less than bet against the Texans right now.
All right, then the final game of the divisional weekend is the Rams at the Bears. That one kicks at 4:30. I'm saying the Rams are 2.5-point favorites on the road.
Yep, I guess 2.5 as well. It is 3.5 with the hook.
Wow.
And a 48.5-point over-under, which is sky high for the playoffs. I think the Bears are getting love, then no love, and no love, and I still have, 19 weeks into the year, still don't know what to do with the Bears. But I do know this, is that I thought that heading into the playoffs, or at least let's call it the last month of the season, let's say in mid-December, I thought that the Rams were the best team in the league.
Yep.
They've lost a couple players here and there, the Devontae Adams injury, who's now back. Defensively, they haven't been as strong the last 3 weeks or so, but I did think that their ceiling was as high as anybody, and I'm going to kind of continue to lean on that.
I mean, I agree. My power rankings coming down the stretch in the last month of the season, I had the Rams as the number 1 team in football. I had Denver 2, New England 3, Houston 4, and Seattle 5. And those 5 teams are all remaining, but I thought the Rams were number 1. And again, they had a couple missteps. Like they had, there's the 1 week when Devontae Adams was out with a hamstring and Puka Nacua was out too. They lost that game. That basically cost them the division title and the 1 seed. They win that game, and we're talking about they haven't even played yet in this playoffs, let alone having to go on the road twice. And I think they still have a coaching advantage. I know Sean McVay's not as hot of a commodity as he used to be, but I think he's still one of the best coaches in the world, and I think that helps them too. So I'm definitely leaning Rams. So let's do a 2, 3, and 4-parter. How about that?
Deal.
All right. So let's just do the winners first, and then we'll eliminate to make it to our best bet. We'll start Sunday because I think we're both on the same side, right? Are we leaning road teams Sunday? Houston over New England and Los Angeles over Chicago?
So we're starting on Sunday. I like both road teams.
Okay. And then Seattle, San Francisco, the home team.
I like Seattle because of at home and for a variety of reasons, but home field is the biggest piece.
Buffalo, Denver. I think we're leaning different ways. I'm leaning Denver.
I'm leaning Denver as well.
Okay.
And it's crazy because I just want to be right about my Super Bowl pick, and I want Josh Allen. I like to watch greatness. I always say that, no matter if it's my style or my guy or whatever, I want to be around and say, I saw something great. I watched Tom Brady. I watched Patrick Mahomes. I don't root for either of those guys. I want to see it happen. I don't want to see, endless 10-year dynasties, but I love a good 3-4 year run. I would love for Josh Allen to go on one and be that guy, the Wyoming kid that goes to Buffalo and gets Buffalo over the top, and I would love to see that, but Denver's defense is just really tough.
Okay. How about then for our 3-parter? Which one are we eliminating from that? Which is the most tenuous of those? Probably Buffalo, Denver.
Buffalo, Denver.
Okay, so the 3-part will include Seattle, Houston, and the Rams. Okay, and then for the 2-parter.
And I wouldn't mind, just for those out there, we don't have to put this up there, but I wouldn't mind having a Seattle, Rams, New England to cover 3.5. I could see New England losing by a field goal.
Yep.
I can get down with that. Not for ours, but I'm just saying out there, if you want to make a little 3-parter, I like New England to keep this close, even though I like Texans to win it.
Yeah, I also like if you're making parlays with teased numbers, I also like betting that Seattle San Francisco spread up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get it to 9.5, and then pair it with 2 other winners. Like say
to 10.5.
Sure, right. Exactly. They're not going to lose by more than 10.
They're not going to lose by more than 10.
I don't think anybody's going to lose by more than 10 in this round. There's not going to be a Monday Night Football where it's 30-6.
Agreed.
We're going to have slugfest all the way. So our 3-parter then is Seattle at home, Houston and LA on the road, and then the 2-parter. What's the best bet? What are the 2 that we want to pair together?
I mean, I think it's got to be the Rams and the Seahawks.
Rams and Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, even though I love Houston, again, the weather could be really volatile there.
Totally. And you never know. Like, we've never seen Drake May in this situation.
He might have it.
Like, what if he just is all that in a slice of bread, right? Like, what if he just is the next great one?
And the hard part is that we say that Brock Purdy's better than Sam Darnold, but I like Seattle in this spot at home.
Yeah.
And then you got to take the best quarterback left. If we're saying that Buffalo, Denver's out of this equation, then you got to take Matt Stafford.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So your best bet is Rams and Seahawks, and then that will be your NFC Championship matchup. Well, it's now 102.9 ESPN Radio. Anything else to add on the NFL before we get you out of here?
You know, Coulter, I've been thinking a lot about how I love seasons.
Yeah.
And I'm okay this year with football maybe coming towards an end. We've been grinding on football for 25 weeks. And while I want the NFL to continue, all I really want in my life is it not to be spring outside. I want it to snow.
Yeah, snowing would be great.
I'd like it to snow, and I just like to experience all the seasons. I'm ready. Basketball's here. I'm coaching ball. I'm ready to get back in the gym. And, you know, football, I don't want the NFL to end, but it's been a really fun season.
It's been a great season for sure, and we'll certainly find a way to tread water and bide time once it's over. But for now, it's the most exciting time of the year. So get the Sportsbet Montana app in your life, visit the website, and have some fun with all the action going on around the NFL. It's all football all the time. Probably presented by Sportsbet Montana. You're listening to Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, live from the Grizzly Disposal Studio. Grizzly Disposal, locally owned, veteran-owned, the only Bears that should be in your garbage. Take a break, come back. Grizz Hoops coming your way. Travis DeCure, the head coach of the Montana men's basketball team. That's on the other side. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here. 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Get ready, hockey fans. The highly anticipated Grizz Hockey Winter Classic is coming to Kalispell on Saturday, January 17th. University of Montana Grizzlies go head-to-head with Washington State. Outdoors under the Montana sky at Woodland Park Ice Rink. Puck drops at 6 p.m. Feel the energy with limited edition throwback jerseys, a beer garden, food trucks, and fire pits to keep things warm. Tickets are general admission, and this game supports Flathead Valley Youth Hockey. Get tickets and details at grizzhockey.com, and don't miss it when the Grizz hit the ice.
If you're in search of a trading card of your favorite player, or if your kids are, swing into Zootown Sports Cards. If there's a card of a player you're searching for, Zootown Sports Cards has the cards. With an almost endless collection of singles and inserts, whatever and whoever you're in the market for, Zootown Sports Cards has it. 1990s NBA stars, Zootown has it. 2000s football players, Zootown has it. And looking through the collection is half of the fun. Come check out all of what Zootown Sports Cards has to offer in the Stevens Center in Missoula.
When it comes to your car, don't settle for just any shop. Trust the experts at Spartan's Tuning in Missoula. Got a European car like a BMW, Audi, Porsche, or Volkswagen? Spartan's Tuning has the expertise to service and repair the cars most shops won't. And if you're a Subaru owner, you're in luck. Spartan's Tuning is home to Missoula's most trusted Subaru mechanic, Rico. With over 30 years of experience, Rico is the preferred choice for Subaru repairs in the area. Spartan's Tuning, Missoula's AAA approved shop. For more information, visit spartanstuning.com.
Is delayed service on your roll-off box slowing your construction project down? Call Grizzly Disposal and get yours within 24 hours. Don't wait days or even weeks for your construction roll-off box. Grizzly Disposal has them in stock and can get them to you fast. Visit grizzlydisposal.com or call 406-541-7171. 24-hour turnaround times and a commitment to doing what they say they're going to do. Locally and veteran-owned, Grizzly Disposal, the only Bears that should be in your garbage.
This is Simon McCann, Bitterroot Market President of Stockman Bank. We are proud to be the statewide sponsor of Montana High School Association Sportsmanship Program. At Stockman, we believe qualities of good sportsmanship matter. On the court, on the field, and in the community. Our future leaders show respect, take pride in their community, and display grace and dignity. We wish all teams good luck, and remember, tomorrow's leaders are built through good sportsmanship today. Stockman Bank, Montana's brand of banking, member FDIC.
Hey, it's Coulter Nuanez from your favorite daily sports talk show, Nuanez Now, and I want to buy you a meal on your birthday at Paradise Falls. If it's your birthday, head on over to Paradise Falls at 3621 Brook Street, and I will buy you a birthday entree. All you have to do is go into the family-friendly Missoula favorite, present your ID, and the entree is on me. Birthday meals courtesy of Nuanez Now at Paradise Falls, a family-friendly restaurant serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If it's your birthday, head over to Paradise Falls, Missoula's coolest hotspot.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
The first prep hoops polls for 2026 are out, and several of the Garden City's best are featured. Hello, I am Hayden Smith. The Class AA polls feature a pair of Missoula teams from both boys and girls basketball. On the ladies' side, Missoula Big Sky is number 3 thanks to a 5-2 start. Missoula Hellgate is off to a 5-1 start and sits at number 4. Bozeman Gallatin, the last undefeated AA girls team and the defending state champions, are number 1 in the first poll, while Billings West is number 2 and Billings Senior is number 5. In AA boys hoops, Butte High is number 1 in the first poll. Behind the stellar play of senior all-stater Hudson Ludke, the Bulldogs are 7-0 and the only unbeaten AA team. Hellgate is off to a 6-1 start after Tuesday's narrow win over Helena Capital and sits at number 3. And Lincoln Rogers and the Sentinel Spartans are 6-1 and sit at number 4. Billings West is 5-2 and sits at number 2, while defending champions Billings Skyview is 4-3 and comes in at number 5. Other teams from Western Montana that are ranked include Ronan at number 4 and Frenchtown at number 5 in the boys Class A, and Missoula Loyola at number 5 in boys Class B. The Frenchtown girls are number 5 in Class A, while the undefeated Missoula Loyola girls are number 2 in Class B. Florence Carlton's girls are off to a 6-1 start and sit at number 5 in Class B.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
And headed for you, driving that train, pound cocaine. Case Jones, you bet. Watch your speed. Trouble ahead, trouble behind. And you know that notion just crossed my mind.
Happy trails to Bob Weir, the legendary member of the Grateful Dead who passed away late last week. It's funny because my parents were actually not Deadheads. Parents were very much into music, but they were not really ever into the Grateful Dead. So I didn't really get exposed to the Grateful Dead when I was a kid. We listened to a ton of music growing up. That was like a big thing, in my family. But my mom is the youngest of her siblings, and my dad's the second youngest. Big families, both sides, and I have a ton of cousins. Me and my brother are like toward the bottom in terms of the youngest cousins in the family. That's all to say. I have several cousins on my mom's side of the family that are way older than me, like, 10, 15 years older than me. So one of my cousins, Casey, he came to Missoula one summer. I was like probably 12. And he stayed with us and helped my dad do a bunch of yard work. I was with him too. We lived on a piece of property that had like an acre of forest behind us. So I always have to rake the woods. My friends still make fun of me for this. But we would rake the woods because there's pine needles. You had to do it for like insurance purposes and for fire safety and all this. So I had several different cousins that came through and helped my dad and myself do that over the years when I was a kid. Anyways, Casey was super into the Grateful Dead at the time. He and I went on a road trip up through Glacier, and he had this old Subaru car with a tape player in it. We used to listen to like bootleg live sessions of the Dead on the tape player, and that's when I got hooked. I can't proclaim to be a big Deadhead, but I certainly respect the music. The musicality was awesome. And it's really made me sad that Bob Weir passed away, because I had an opportunity to go see Dead & Co. at the Gorge Amphitheater. And for whatever reason, it was like just a date that didn't work out. We got some tickets here through the radio, but I couldn't make it. I had regretted that ever since, because that just would have been so epic. And now you're not going to be able to see them in their full iteration. Obviously, Jerry Garcia passed away a while back, so you wouldn't have seen the original band anyways. But it's just a reminder that nothing lasts forever. Nobody lives forever. So if you can, do it. Go see them. I went and saw the Eagles this last September. It was amazing, and I'm so glad I did it. It was epic. Saw Vince Gill again in Nashville, which, mind-blowing. I mean, what a voice. Unreal. We digress. Nuanez Now, 102.9, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. The Montana men's basketball team got off to a great start this year. They had a win at UNLV. Looked like they were humming right along. Then they hit the skids. They had a 4-game losing streak that included losing to Montana Tech at home. Then they sort of stumbled into Christmas break. They went to Louisville, who's number 11 in the country, but they lost by 40. And so you're thinking, well, what do you make of this Grizz men's team? They had the good win over UNLV, but they've just kind of stumbled into the break. But then they came out of the break, looking great, and they won their first 3 Big Sky games. They had a scoring drought against Eastern Washington on Saturday that cost them the road sweep. But interesting statistics. Since Idaho came back to the conference, in basketball, I think that was 2018 full-time. Since Idaho came back to the conference, the Eastern Washington-Idaho trip, that's those two, when they're on the road, they travel together. When they are at home, that's the swing you have to make. Moscow and Cheney, or Cheney and Moscow, right? Since Idaho came back in 2018, only 3 times has any team in the Big Sky swept that trip. The Grizz have done it twice. So that's all to say. I'm not making excuses for the Grizz, but that's a hard trip to sweep. No matter what the quality of the teams are, it hardly ever happens over the last 8 years. So I don't know how much I make of it. I mean, if you're the league champion, you're probably going to drop a few games. The Grizz are the defending league champs. I think they lost 4 conference games last year. They come into the rivalry game on Saturday with a 3-1 mark. What to make of this Grizz men's basketball team? We caught up with Travis DeCure for the first time in 2026 earlier today.
Kind of looking to make a statement, right? So to speak to, I guess, this challenge for Montana State and, kind of the usual, trying to get some of these guys to know what this game will be.
Yeah, it's always the environment is the biggest piece in terms of the energy and how loud it is. We always talk about how meaningful it is for the state, but as this portal thing, this transfer situation continues to increase, you just don't really have very many guys that have played in the game before. Fortunately for us, we've had 4 or 5 guys that have been on the floor that broke a sweat in this situation, and hopefully that's advantageous to us.
You're actually just talking about kind of like your road record against some of these teams. I think 7-3 in Bozeman, right? I guess when you think of like the preparation that goes into just any road game, but this one specifically, why has there been success in the past in this environment?
I think for us is just how seriously we prepare for every game, and we don't treat it differently. I think that's the biggest thing. I think that, is it the 5th longest rivalry in history?
Yeah.
Right? And I think sometimes you build it up to be a championship game when it's not. We've never played them for a championship except once in 12 years, right? How many times in history have these two teams met up for a championship game, right? And I think that if you treat it differently than any other game, you tend to either play very well or very poorly. And so for us, it's a week to get better and work on our own tendencies and work on ourselves. And then we go into it and we give them the same level of respect we give Northern Colorado or vice versa. And I think when your team goes into games with the same routine every night, every afternoon, you tend to be more consistent.
You guys seem like you've turned a corner since the Christmas break. So what's been different? What have you thought of your team so far? 2 weekends into Big Sky play.
Sense urgency, attention to detail, respect for opponent. I think those are things that are hard to sustain. And for us, with a team that lacks very much experience, those are things that you have to build and create in terms of a mindset. And sometimes it takes more than just a couple months in the summer to get to that point.
I know you talked last year about the team coming together and the way that you were able to operate that. Is this process been similar or different from last year?
Different and similar, I guess. The process has taken longer than maybe 5-6 years ago. This year it's taken longer than it did last year. I think fortunately for us last year is our schedule is a lot different. The talent was a lot different in terms of style of play, and you could win games, still playing poorly. And with this group, we're not that. We have to play well. We have to play together. We don't have to play our best basketball, but we have to play well. We have to play together.
A lot of those guys last year talked about embracing the championship mindset. Does this team have that so far? I mean, have they sort of realized the expectation at Montana?
They're close. They've shown signs of it. I think the Northern Colorado game at home, the first 4 minutes of that game, you sense it, you felt it, shoot around, things like that. I think, going into Idaho, first 10 minutes of that game, you felt it, the energy, the communication. And then, what happens is I always believe that success builds complacency, not success. And I think we got complacent for 50 minutes after that. And so the question for us is Saturday, can we get that energy back? Can we remember what it felt like a week ago?
What do you think of Montana State? What sort of things do they do well that has you concerned this week?
They're just so different than everyone else that they get you out of sync. The switching, the way they play defense. They can get you to get stagnant. Teams turn the ball over a lot against them because you're stagnant and you're dribbling into the teeth of the defense. And so when the game feels slow, all of a sudden they're shooting quick shots and they're getting in transition. And so you got to play your game, but you have an understanding of the adjustments that you make going into their style of play and find things that you can pick on. And when it's not there, find something else. And it's like playing against zones. You can get a quick shot here and there, but you probably won't get the same shot out of the same action in back-to-back possessions because they make adjustments. And so we got to be able to be aggressive and read and react all at the same time.
When it is new faces on the team, but like a similar coaching staff, right, and they're running like their systems, does that affect preparation at all when you're looking at what they're doing? Or have you noticed changes much when teams do that?
I can't really speak to that. We all have our tendencies. And so when you get to conference, I think that's why you see, some teams are hitting stride and they get to conference and then they hit a speed bump. And some teams aren't playing well and get to conference and play well. And I think it's both. We do have tendencies that we can prepare for. And if you have a coach in conference for 4 or 5 years and your staff has been together for a period of time, your prep is a little easier. You just got to find little wrinkles that they've changed and things like that. But most of us don't make drastic changes. We coach to our own strengths and our own experiences. So I think that sometimes the prep is shorter in that regard, but personnel changes a lot of things. And our personnel has turned over so much in this conference that, some tendencies change a little bit.
Yeah, and with a game like this, obviously you're starting 5, they can go out and do their thing, bring energy from the get-go, but it's the guys that on the bench that come in late in the games too. Just how important is it to have those guys really be those spark plugs and bring the energy for a game like this on Saturday?
It's all 14. It's the energy on the bench of the guys that aren't going in the game and have been in the game for a while too. It's the energy in the locker room before the game starts. When the energy is high on the bench, then typically the guys that get their number called are ready to go. And so that's huge because it's not always just points off the bench. It's execution on both sides of the ball off the bench. The teams that can play through foul trouble, missed shots, injuries, things like that are the ones that have guys ready to go regardless to when their number's called.
It's not just the progress Money Williams has made. Have you seen him improve and grow over this year?
Game to game continues to grow. From season to season, he's continued to grow. He's been like a sponge in terms of his ability to take in information, execute information, and add tools to his box. And, everyone sees the scoring and the highlights. And that's always been there. But he's grown in a lot of different areas in the game. And as he continues to do that, I think we'll continue to be a better basketball team.
Fun point guard matchup because the two guys that are playing really well, but two totally different players,
right?
Between Money and Jed Miller. So what do you think of just the way he's playing, the way he's sort of...
Well, that's what makes the game exciting. Right. His styles of play, strengths of players, even if they're playing head up. And Jed Miller has figured out how to contribute to winning and impact winning. And you only know what you see on film, but to me it looks like he's a natural leader. He's a competitor. And guys like him can, ignite a team to wins. And so we've got to make sure that we do what we've got to do to make the game hard for him.
How about Patrick McMahon? Just that he's such an ISO player, another guy that's kind of different than anybody else in the league.
He's one of those guys that just finishes at a high rate. He knows what's a good shot for him, and he knows how to get that shot. And they give him the freedom to do that. And so defensively, if you don't understand what it is he's trying to get to and have the ability to take some of that away, he's going to light you up. And he's had games where he goes 11 for 14, 11 for 15, You can't let guys do that, and you got to get them out of their comfort zone or at least try to take away some of their strengths.
Travis Secure, Montana men's basketball coach here on Nuanez Now. Thanks, everybody that entered in, gave us your texts and your questions about anything to get you entered in for Thursday, courtesy of DraftWorks. We will select a winner. We'll let you know, but appreciate all the engagement. Take a break, come back. 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Cold weather cravings? The Montana Club has got you covered with scratch-made comfort food to match every craving. From perfectly grilled steaks to satisfying salads, they're ready to handle your hunger. So grab a table with a reservation or keep it casual and order delivery straight to your door. Great food made easy. Visit MontanaClub.com to order or reserve and come warm up at your Montana Club. Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
You know all that gunk that gets stuck on the bottom of your car? It's nice that the city of Missoula de-ices the roads for us, but that stuff can really hurt your paint job and erode the undercarriage of your rig. That's why it's important to keep your car clean all winter long at Dazzler's Car Wash. Get yourself an unlimited membership at Dazzler's Car Wash. For just $37 a month, you can get your car washed every single day. Treat your car like it deserves to be treated at Dazzler's Car Wash of Missoula, located at 2610 Radio Way in the Garden City.
Big changes start with small steps, and the Diabetes Prevention Program helps you take them. This proven CDC program teaches healthy eating, stress management, and ways to stay active, all in a supportive group. Participants have reduced their risk of diabetes by 58% and 71% if they're over 65. Smoking and vaping can raise your risk too, but help is free at quitnowmontana.com or call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. To join the Diabetes Prevention Program at Missoula Public Health, call 406-880-5344 to register.
All Nations Health Center is committed to keeping you vibrant and full of energy by supporting your physical, mental, and spiritual health. All Nations Health Center in Missoula offers a variety of services to the Indigenous and non-Indigenous people of Western Montana. All Nations offers primary care doctors, behavioral health services, mental health counseling, and even dental. All Nations currently serves more than 2,000 registered clients who are proud Indigenous people. For more information about how All Nations Health Center can help you, visit allnations.health.
Canby Tap House is well known around the Garden City for its peerless selection of draft beers. Breakfast at Canby is also worth a sterling reputation. From breakfast burritos to chicken fried steak to delicious daily specials, Canby Tap House has excellent breakfast for your weekend brunch appetite. Canby also has a full coffee bar offering bold and delicious espresso and other specialty coffee drinks. Canby Tap House is family friendly and conveniently located on Higgins, across from South Campus Stadium and Dorn Blazer Field. Come enjoy the best breakfast in town at Canby Tap House.
Looking for a meaningful way to give back? Trek Hospice in Missoula is offering group and individualized hospice volunteer trainings from January 27th to February 19th. Training covers hospice care and philosophy, the volunteer's role, family dynamics, grief, and the physical and emotional aspects of death and dying. Sessions are held Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Trek Hospice Office, 2445 South 3rd West, Suite B, Missoula. For details, contact Trek Hospice at 406-541-1800.
It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Welcome back. Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio. You can always find the show, if you missed any of it, on the Nuanez Now podcast, which is available on all your various podcast hosting platforms. Please rate, review, subscribe. Fun show today. Talk Rashad Rady, SWX Montana Television. Daniel Solly, the women's play-by-play man for Montana State women's basketball. Also heard from Brooks Nuanez on all things NFL, and Dr. Travis DeCure, the head men's basketball coach of the Grizz, as they prepare to head to Bozeman for a rivalry game against Montana State. Check it out on the pod, and do yourself a favor. Click on subscribe. We really appreciate it. Got tons of engagement, tons of questions today. One of them was about the NHL, so we'll let Hayden and Jeff handle that one probably early week next week. We'll have another sort of hybrid Grizz hockey / NHL segment, but we are the official affiliates of the Seattle Kraken. Kraken are battling it out right now. They're in third place in the Pacific Division. There's 5 points behind the Vegas Golden Knights, and we're going to roll right into some Kraken coverage here a little bit later on here this evening. When it comes to Nuanez Now, we'll be back at it tomorrow. Rajim Seabrook will be kicking it with us. We also have Jed Miller from Montana State and Brooklyn Hicks from Montana to help us continue previewing the rivalry stuff. And Carolyn Chigo's No Sports. She swung by earlier today, so we'll play that for you tomorrow as well. Appreciate you, as always, for hanging with us, tuning in, engaging, all that fun stuff. It's a great joy to do this with all of you guys, and we'll see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. In the meantime, don't change that dial. Seattle Kraken coming your way, 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Is delayed service on your roll-off